This is the Joel Verlin Show podcast, talking sports, stupid people, and nonsense, as well as everything in between. Hello to all intelligent life forms everywhere and to everyone else. The secret is to bang the rocks together, guys. Come on.
And as of course we count down the first ever for this year, Football Sunday coming upon us very quickly. Main story is the Seahawks and their protest, but this is of course from the Seattle Times, dated September 9th, 2016. Seahawks receiver Doug Baldwin, quote, "We never said there was a protest." As, of course, the Seattle Seahawks players are keeping secrets of the specifics of their planned demonstration of unity for Sunday's game against the Miami Dolphins. But receiver Doug Baldwin, who has been one of the leaders in formulating the action, was adamant Friday that it should not be viewed as a protest. Quote, "Never said there was a protest," said Baldwin, who on Thursday revealed via Twitter that the team had plans for an action that would, quote, "honor the country and flag," close quote, prior to the game, as the exact quote from the tweet from Doug Baldwin Jr. goes, "To express a desire to bring people together, our team will honor the country and flag at a pre-game demonstration of unity." Continuing from the article, I don't know who did call it a protest, but "we never said there was a protest," Baldwin said. "We never said there was a kneeling. We never said we weren't kneeling. We just said we were having a discussion. I want to be clear about that. We were just having a discussion."
You're in the zone with the Temper Motormouth.
And as we go from protests, non-protests, kneeling, not kneeling, to all of that controversy currently occurring, we now go to the NCAA, as yes, they're at it again, as you have to remember from 2014 when 2 or 3 players were temporarily suspended and had to pay something like $3.83 fine because they ended up eating too much pasta at a school celebration. Yes, NCAA is back in it again, folks, as of course I'm sure you've heard by now. 30-plus players at Charleston Southern suspended for use of book money. Of course, they're getting ready for their Week 1 matchup against Florida State. No stranger to scrutiny by the NCAA. But, yes, FCS Power, Charleston Southern, this is from thecomeback.com, is preparing for this weekend's big matchup against Florida State. As if the thought of having to stop Florida State was not daunting enough for the overmatched program, they face the possibility of having to do so without at least 30 players facing a suspension due to alleged improper use of their book money. Charleston Southern running back Ben Robinson shared the news on Facebook account Thursday night, saying at least 30 of his teammates and he were notified about possible misuse of money given to players to purchase textbooks at the student bookstore. Because many players ended up having money left over from their book stipend, Robinson claims bookstore employees advised them to purchase other goods and supplies since they would not receive any leftover funds from the stipend. Taking that advice from the student bookstore employees, many players purchase additional supplies for the semester, like binders. This, as you might have guessed, could be considered a violation of the NCAA rules. While the situation is currently investigated, Charleston Southern is at risk of having to vacate any games that could conceivably see a player violation of the NCAA rules steps foot on the field. Because of that, players are given the choice to sit out this weekend's game against Florida State, very likely lost that really would have happened anyway, or the next game against a conference opponent, which could be vacated later if they won. It is a tough decision, especially for any player like Robinson, who is from Tallahassee or nearby. So who is to blame here is the primary question. Typically, when it comes to NCAA violation, the blame has to be put on the player. This situation, however, feels different. Perhaps this should have been handled differently from the start. Now is a good time to check on the timeline of the NCAA rules expert John Infante. Hopefully I said that right. This seems like it might have been an honest mistake, but players are not entirely to blame here. You can't blame the store employees for not knowing the rules, but you can blame somebody in the athletics department for not making sure that the players know the absolute positive rules about the book purchases. As a result, the system failure may have been nothing more than a mild oversight without the intent to skirt around the rules. Here's hoping Charleston Southern players are not held accountable, don't have to miss any playing time. So, having to play FSU in their first game is pretty much punishment enough, right? Because even if they did have all their first string players, they would probably get beaten 7,020-1 anyway. So what would the difference mean? But yes, crazy NCAA at it again.
You're in the zone with the Temper Motormouth.
And September definitely started off with a bang as we leave you with this. Yeah, what a way to start off September 1st. From Westerly, Rhode Island, a Dateline man charged with shooting corn cobs at neighbor's home. As a 50-year-old Westerly man is charged with shooting corn cobs at his neighbor's home. As the Westerly Sun reports that Jeffrey Osella was arrested Tuesday night. Police say he answered his door shirtless and had corn kernels stuck to his chest. Police say Osella used a potato gun to shoot corn cobs at his neighbor's house, which is up for sale. The gun is made of PVC line, uses a light accelerant such as hairspray that can be ignited. Police say Osella and his neighbor have long-running disputes. Osella is charged with disorderly conduct and firing in a compact area. He is free on bail and is to be arraigned on Friday. A phone number for Osella could not be found. Osella's attorney comments he can't comment until he reviews the case. So, one of those stories that I really don't need any corny puns, because the story itself has a kernel of truth to it. And that's it for me on this fine Saturday as we count down to a very somber day in all of our thoughts, memories, as we remember where we were when we first heard the news of the two planes slamming into the World Trade Center towers, the one plane slamming into the Pentagon, and then Flight 93, where the passengers bravely sacrificed themselves. So, assuming that the plane's target was the White House, so then that would not happen. As a truly horrible tragedy, horrible day in our history as a nation, and we will remember it tomorrow as never forget. Two words that may seem trite, but are definitely appropriate tomorrow as we remember all the lives lost, the sacrifices made, all of the first responders who thought not of themselves, but rather of the people that they were trying to help. And we hope to never, ever, ever, ever again have anything like that happen. Ever. So we remember all of those lost as we end the podcast in silence.